profession since he was 21 and a self-proclaimed poser for many of those years. But in the past 3.5 years, he made a decision to go pro, and he's having a huge impact. He leads with family and community. And to talk to you more about the importance of that, help me welcome to the stage Mr. Andrew Huff.
Give us a 10 in the chat, guys, if you are absolutely pumped for what is happening right now this weekend with GoPro. Let's light up the chat with 10s, guys. Hey, look, I want to take you back to New Year's Day 2016. Now, while most people woke up inspired, wondering with great anticipation what the year was going to bring them, I woke up in tears. Tears of sadness and tears of absolute sorrow. Because on New Year's Eve, my mother passed away. And unfortunately, she passed away without having really lived. And that's like a lot of people, right? You know, I've done a few things in my life by then, but I still wasn't where I wanted to be. And not long after that, I turned 40. And I stopped and reevaluated my life. And I really wasn't happy where I was. I was living in existence. I wasn't providing for my family like I thought I should be. My wife was supporting me. Something had to change, so I had to make a decision there and then. And you know that decision means to cut off from. It's from the Latin term decidere. To cut off from any other outcome. Something needed to change. In order for me to change, however, I needed to know who I was, how I was showing up. And again, I didn't like what I saw then either. I was showing up as a failure. Many failed businesses through attempts, trying to better myself, but I still wasn't where I needed to be. So I took ownership, I took responsibility for where I was and what I needed to do to give the life to my family that I'd promised them. Now, once I'd taken ownership of who I was, I had to take some action. Because it's easy to make a decision. Put your hand up if you've made a decision before in the past and still not follow through in what it was. Well, that's where I was. So I needed to take some quick, decisive action. Now, did I know what that action looked like? No. Does anyone? But what I did know is that if I took action towards my logical outcome, that the universe would show me if I was on the right track or not. So let's fast forward now to 2017. I got the opportunity to travel to Kuala Lumpur to check out a business opportunity. Now, I couldn't afford to travel to Kuala Lumpur, let's be honest. The flights and accommodation were $520. That's how poor I was at the time, or how poor my mindset was. But I looked at my wife and I said, I have to go. And she said, trust your gut. I trust you. So I went. And I got some really life-changing information. And I started doing live videos not long before that because I knew something needed to change, right? And I did a live video from Kuala Lumpur. By the time I landed back in Australia, I had made 4 times what my flights and accommodation had cost me. That's the universe telling me I was on the right track. And I can proudly say that since I made that decision, since I took ownership for who I was and how I was showing up, all of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because if you don't own all of it, you own none of it. Right? We create it all, or we create none. Since that date, my life has changed 360 degrees. Now, that was just a little over 3 years ago. Now, I've risen to the top rank within my company. I represent my company worldwide. But the most important part is that I've been able to leave something for my family and their family. My siblings, all of them. I've been able to create a legacy. And you all of you all have the exact same opportunity, regardless of the business that you are in. The opportunity to leave that legacy is the same. And right here on this platform that Eric and Marina so lovingly give to us all every year, you can learn everything you need to know. So I'm going to leave you with this. You create everything in your life. So you might as well create something amazing. Guys, it's been great to be here with you. I hope you got something from what I've told you. I love you all. Take care.
Thank you, Andrew. Man, I love, I'm looking down. I'm seeing Jeremy Cohen look down and take notes. I'm seeing Jan Morgan taking notes. Emma Wright's taking notes. It's really one of my favorite things as a speaker. When you're talking, like you think you want everybody like to see your eyes, but I feel like, you know, I'm doing a good job. Our speakers are doing a good job when I look at you guys and heads are down because smart people take notes. Which reminds me, I learned that quote from a dear friend of mine, and I really hope that you took the last stretch break and really stretched. Because if I know my next guest like I think I do, dancing will be involved. So we don't want you to pull anything. In fact, I know our next guest, I've known her for over a decade. You may know her from her fitness background because she actually holds the Guinness Book of World Records for being in the most fitness videos ever. But about 12 years ago, I remember, she was one of the first people that I saw strategically using social media to build a tribe of what she calls lifers on social media. People that will just follow you to the ends of the earth, no matter what you do, no matter where you pivot, because they fall in love with you genuinely. And I attended one of her first workshops where we were learning how to dominate Twitter. And then she taught me video, and then Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and her superpower literally is staying one step ahead of trends. Right? How many times have you gone into some kind of social media training and they're teaching you things that worked 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago? That's not terrible. But as we see, this is moving quickly. I mean, it can be frustrating. What worked last week doesn't always work. Like, just give me some nods and give me some of the emojis. Does it ever drive you nuts when, like, you think you finally nailed it? That post goes viral. You get some interaction. You're like, I figured out that social media thing. And you're like, this is all I'm doing from now on. And the next one just tanks. Am I the only one here? No, I see nods. I see nods. Thank you so much. So, you know, social media and where we are now, it's one of those things where we know it's vital. But sometimes we just feel like we're just shouting into the wind because we think we take all this time to craft a good story, right? We write it down, we think of the post, we shoot the video, and we're like, this one's going to crush. This one's going to be it because I saw, you know, I did what Jesse Lee told me to do. I'm going to make that TikTok video. Oh, I really put a lot of thought into this post. I think it's really heartwarming. I'm going to tell a story like Pat's told us about. And I'm going to share my story, and it's crickets. And there's nothing there, and it's frustrating. I get it. Because then all of a sudden you're like, why am I even doing this? I was taking all day to craft this post. We've heard people today, okay, I got on that time. I went live once, and nobody showed up, Jimmy. And we get discouraged. And so we stopped creating content. But what if you had a strategy? What if you had a friend that could tell you not only what was working, what doesn't work anymore, but what's about to work? That's where I'm so excited to bring up our next guest. She has been my mentor. She has been my fitness inspiration, my energy inspiration, but more than anything, she's one of my dearest friends. I consider her family. Help me welcome to the stage, Miss Chalene Johnson.
Yeah! Hands up! I need your hands up. I'm not going to make you stand up, but I need your hands up. Take it off, Macarena. Let me begin. Woo! All right. Okay. Catch my breath. Fun. This is amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for bouncing those hands up. That really works for me. Jimmy was amazing, and Jimmy and I have known each other a long time. I think for those of you who are just meeting me, I want to let you know that most people know me from fitness, but you know me from fitness because, not because I know the most about fitness, but because I love social media. I love marketing. I love figuring this stuff out. And so I want you to know you don't have to be the best, the smartest, the tallest, the most entertaining. But if you master the nuances of social media, anything is possible. And I also want to put your mind at ease, because I think for a lot of people who are just starting to grow their social media and you want to use it to build your network marketing business, it can feel incredibly daunting, overwhelming, time-consuming, and sometimes you just feel discouraged because you're like, I don't have a personality like this person or that person, or my life isn't this perfectly curated thing that looks amazing on Instagram. Like, how do I grow a following when it seems like this is something that really works for 20-somethings? What if you're 40 or 50, or what if you just don't love going on camera? I'm going to share with you some things today that are going to blow your mind, because the algorithm works in your favor big time right now. So this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to teach you how to attract your ideal followers and to use Instagram to do that. My Instagram following is one thing, but I want you to know this. I get that you're like, that's awesome, Shalene, but I don't have an infomercial on TV. No wonder you've got a following, right? And I understand what it feels like to look at what someone else is doing and think, it's great, but I'm not you. So how does this work for me? And so I just want to show you or ask you these questions first. Do you struggle with getting people to engage on your stories? Getting people to engage on your feed posts? Just wave at me. Wave at me. Yeah, everybody. I love it. Do you struggle with what to post and when to post it? Do you everyone's just like waving, your arms getting tired. Struggle with what to say in your captions, how to avoid feeling salesy, how much time do I really need to spend on social media, and how do I get more followers? Like, don't I have to spend a lot more time on social media if I want to get more followers? And I'm going to be very honest with you today. I shoot straight. It's the only way I know how to be. I'm going to be very transparent with you. And some of the things I'm going to tell you might sting a little bit, but they're going to help you. I promise you. Okay? If I could do all these things for you today, would that make you happy? If I could deliver on those things, if I could answer those questions for you, would that be a good thing? Give me hands up if you're excited for that. Yes? All right. Good. All right. Now, I'm not doing this to flex. I'm just doing this to show you what is possible right now. So my account is the one you're seeing in the top left-hand corner, and I'm at almost 600,000. But these are all other accounts that I don't have to create the content for. But these are accounts that have grown 10 times quicker, 10 times faster than my own account, and these are accounts that I manage. So, for example, you can see some of them are already at 500,000 followers, and it's not me. It's not me, but it's curated content. How awesome would it be if the content didn't have to be you? Would that be awesome? If you didn't have to go, oh my gosh, I got to put on my makeup today. I got to look cute. I got to do something that looks interesting on Facebook or on Instagram. How awesome would it be if you didn't have to be the subject matter? Which, wave at me if you're like, that would be a relief. Because some days I ain't feeling cute. Some days I don't have anything interesting to say. Some days I just don't feel like it. But I have to for my business? You do. So let me be clear on that. You do have to show up on social, but it doesn't have to be you. And I'm going to share with you how we do that. So here's just a few of the other accounts that I manage. And these are all accounts that I've built. Now listen, because I'm going to teach you how to do this. It's going to blow your mind. These are all accounts that all the traffic drives to me, drives to my website, drives to sales. But I don't have to be in them. But the content attracts my ideal customer. Do you know who your ideal customer is? Yeah? Who's your ideal customer? write it in the comments for me. Tell me, who are they? Your ideal customer. Like, be specific. How old are they? Where do they live? What do they do? What are they into? What do they tend to love? And the biggest question of all that I'm going to challenge each of you to write in the comments right now is this. What is the problem they have that you can help them solve? What is the problem? I'm going to give you some time. I want to see these. I want to read these. Great. They struggle with their health. They feel lost. They feel tired. These are awesome. They've got low energy. This is good. Please take a moment. Do this. It's something so powerful when instead of thinking of the answer, you actually type the answer. Even most powerful of all is when you write the answer in your own handwriting. That's why I always say smart people take notes, right? Dana, I love your background. Vanessa, she's got that cool virtual background. I love it, girl. Yeah, so write those down. That's important. Thank you for allowing me to see these. Excellent. Okay. Conversion and conversations have a lot to do with each other. We know, statistically speaking, that people are more likely to buy from us, not because of the name of our company, not because of the name of the product, but because they feel a connection to you. Am I right? They feel a connection to you, and that connection happens with conversations. But conversations can take a long time. But it's one of the first and most important things that I want you to create a system for. So you heard Fraser talking about how important it is to have these dialogues, to have these conversations. You know that people do business with people that they know, like, and trust, and that takes conversations. But the problem with conversations is they take a long time. Am I right? So even though conversations matter, so too does your time. And I don't want you to spend your life on social media. There are too many people in this industry, and I know because I've trained thousands of them, that burn out because they don't create systems. Systems are how you can be successful. And I don't just mean in your business, but in your life. Because what is the friggin' point if your family never gets you? If you can't put your phone down, if you feel so burnt out and you hate it, what is the freaking point, right? So I want to teach you one of the most important systems that's going to allow you to save time, because these systems are what are going to help you to recruit the right people and to convert those followers, because that's what I'm going to help you do today. Listen, let me just be honest. I'm going to help you attract people. But how you convert them, that's what you've been learning yesterday, today, and what you'll learn tomorrow. Those things have to be systematized, and I'm going to give you the how to systematize, but you're going to fill in the blank because you know how to have these conversations. I'm going to teach you how to create shortened text messages. Like, there are certain things you're going to say over and over and over again. And I don't want you to be on Sunday night with your kids and someone's asked this question, you're like, honey, hold on, and spend 30 minutes responding to something that you could have created a system for in advance. So I want you to develop authentic, honest replies so that you can interact with people, but it's real. It's really your voice. So that you can create less monologue and a lot more dialogue. See, what was working in, especially, and I'm going to talk to you specifically about Instagram today, but everything I share with you on Instagram, I mean, you know who owns Instagram, right? It's Facebook. So anything I share with you about Instagram pretty much works on Facebook too. One thing that you have to remember is what was working last year isn't working this year. So you've got to change your approach. And that's really important. How many of you would love to have 10,000 followers on Instagram right now? You'd love to have 10,000 followers. Yes? Awesome. Anybody not want to have 10,000 followers? Okay, now I see the hands up. Beautiful. What is pop quiz? What is it that's attractive about that number, 10,000 versus, say, 9,000? What's attractive about 10,000? Yeah. Kathy Savage in the house. What's up, girl? Yeah, Kathy Savage knows it's the swipe up. we all want the swipe up, right? So when people are on your stories and you can say, hey, if you'd like to attend a live training I'm doing tonight about this incredible opportunity, just swipe up. Everybody wants to swipe up. But you know what the swipe up has become? White noise. I want you to have 10,000 followers, but not because of a swipe up. Swipe up ain't gonna do you nothing. You know why? Because can I follow up with you if you swipe up? No. Do I know that you were actually kind of interested if I just tell my audience, hey, swipe up? I have no way of knowing who actually did swipe up. Then it feels impersonal. And I'd love to know in the comments, how many of you have found that to be true? Like you'll watch somebody on their stories and they'll say like swipe up and you're like, you just don't, right? I want to give you a workaround that converts way better. This is like having the swipe up without 10,000 followers. And I want to give you this right up front because I want to blow your mind right away so that you stay with me throughout this presentation. Are you ready for this? Okay, this is the coolest hack ever. Like, you're going to love this. You're pretty much going to want to send me a Christmas gift after this. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to show you how this works. Let's see if this video will play for us. iPhone. All right, here we go. I can do this as well. Maybe. Says, all right, general, because I've got an iPhone, I'm going to show you this example on my iPhone, but I do know Android users can do this as well. So we're going to go to our settings. Once we're in settings, you want to scroll down to where it says general. There it is. Click on general. Once you're at general, scroll down just a little bit to where it says keyboard. Click on keyboard, and the second line it says text replacement. Click on that. Upper right-hand corner, click the plus button, and you want to paste in any pre-written message that you want to send to someone, and then create a shortcut. I recommend that you only use letters for your shortcut and only use letters that you won't normally use on a regular basis. All right, so there's the message that I've created, and now I can go back to anyone who responded yes to my poll, right? So I can see first I created this poll by talking a little bit about the event, and then rather than saying swipe up, I said, tell me if you want the link, tell me if you want to go, or click no thanks. Then I can sort those people who said yes and those people who said no. I can filter the ones that said yes, and every one of them, even if they are a private account, because they've responded here, I can just then use my text shortener, which is just a couple of letters, and send them a very nice, detailed, individual message that's going to feel more personal, number one. And number two, it gives me the opportunity to follow up with these folks because now I have a message thread. I've got a record of our conversation. Do I do this myself personally? Not usually. I will outsource this to one of my virtual assistants to do that, but I've written the message. So in that regard, it feels very authentic. We can kill that video. Conversations are so important. I've created text shorteners or text replacements for even quick sentences that I know I'm going to repeat over and over and over again. It may seem silly, but just by typing a few letters, that's going to take me far less time than writing out a long sentence, coming up. So it works. And the reason why I wanted to show you that is because what you'll do on stories, okay, now if you're like, I have no idea what you just did, don't worry. You can find this. It's very simple. It's just a text replacement option, whether you're on Android or Apple phone. All right, so if you don't know how to do that, just Google it. Google text shortener or text replacement. Then you create pat responses for the questions you're going to be asked most often. Now, that's one way to save you a ton of time. Here's the second thing I want you to do. You'll create a poll. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm at Chalene Johnson. You'll see exactly how I do this, right? So today, I said, if you're in network marketing and you'd love some tips on how to do a better job on Instagram, click the yes button if you'd like me to send you a link to a podcast. Click the no button if you don't need it. Okay, now I can do that same thing. I can see every single person who said yes. And the reason why this is so important for you is because you know your success is in the follow-up. If I just said swipe up, I have no idea who's actually interested in my product or interested in becoming a distributor. I have no idea. But now I'm creating a thread. Now I'm creating a dialogue. Now I'm creating a conversation. Now this person isn't just like, oh, you know, they told me to swipe up. They don't care about me. This person says, this individual took the time to write out a long response and send me the link. And then you have the opportunity to follow up with them. Give me hands up if you're like, that is way better than a swipe up. Hands up. Listen, you guys, I have a swipe up. I don't use it because this works better, because it's more personal. Now, I'm just going to show you a couple of quick people. These are network marketers, people who are killing it right now, who have used just a few of the tips I'm going to share with you today. I just want you to know this stuff works. Also in network marketing, Erica Marie. So the tips I'm going to share with you, one of the very specific strategies, I'm going to literally show you how to do it today. How to do this. And if you do this, I don't know if you're going to get results like this, but you could get some pretty insane results, like increasing your impressions by over 5,000%. Pretty cool, okay? But before we do that, I have to show you how the algorithm works. This is important. Because if you understand this, you're going to go like, oh, I get it. So here's how the algorithm works. The algorithm, when you post, that post goes only to your most engaged followers, like your mom, like your spouse, the person they like everything, they leave you a little comment, right? You know who they are, right? They're every single time you post, they show up. Thank God for them. Now, if for some reason, how dare they, one of those followers just looks at your post, they just keep scrolling, right? They just look at it, but they don't like it, tap it, or give it a share, well, it doesn't keep moving. But if that first tier of your followers are engaged, well, then Instagram pushes it out to another tier, right? And then if that tier seems to engage pretty well, not all of them, but if that tier is engaging pretty well, then it pushes it out to a larger group, and a larger group, and a larger group. And that's how this works, unless at some point people on that tier just aren't engaging. Now, what is engagement? Tell me in the comments. You know what engagement is, but this, just to make sure everyone's awake and alert, tell me what engagement is. Because it's not just looking at it, right? Because how many times have you done that? You're like, oh, I saw your post, but I'm sorry, I forgot to like or comment. So commenting is engaging. Likes are engaging. Saves are engaging. But do you know what is the most valuable engagement of all?
Share.
See who gets this right. Who's going to get this right? Vivian says she knows what it is. Vivian is nodding confidently. I know what it is. Who else? Nod at me if you're like, yeah, I know what it is. Yes, Kristen, Brianna, Danielle, Lisa. Yes, it is the share. Okay, now let me explain to you why this is, okay? The only way I'm going to see your content is if I'm already following you. But if I'm not following you, I still might not see your content. So the only way I'm going to see your content, if I'm not already one of your followers, is how? How am I ever going to find you? How will I ever find you? Think about this. How does anyone ever find us if they're not already following us? Well, the easiest way is if your content is shared by one of your followers. Now, that follower's followers are seeing your content. Let that sink in. This is so big, and when you get this, you'll be like, oh. It is so hard today to get a new follower unless people are sharing your content. The other way that people find it is with a hashtag, right? But even with a hashtag, that person has to click on the hashtag, they have to see your piece of content, and they have to go, ooh, that looks valuable. Not interesting. That looks valuable to me. And they have to click on it. Then they have to go to your profile and go, is this something I need? And then they follow. What are some other ways that we end up getting new followers? Is if somebody recommends us, right? But for the most part, you got to get people sharing your stuff. If I walked off the stage right now, that one thing should change everything about the strategy you're using right now to post. Because, frankly, the bottom line is this. If your people aren't sharing your stuff, it just keeps going out to that first tier over and over and over and over again, that first tier. And that's why you can't grow. And those people aren't your customers. Am I right? Okay, so here's some things you got to think about. The average Instagram user follows over 250 people. Hey, let me know, how many people do you follow right now? Grab your phone. How many people do you follow? How many people do you follow? Wow, 1,000, 2,000, 800, 1,000, 1,600, 1,500, 1,800. Wow. 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 Look at those numbers. Well, so it looks like this group's a little bit higher than average. How about this? The average Instagram user views less than 3% of the accounts that we follow. You know that's true. How many, you're following like 5,000, one person's following 5,000 people. How many of those people are you looking at their content? Is that a pretty accurate statistic, 3%? 3%, yeah, okay. Here's the other thing you have to remember. Just think about yourself. 93% of us are like, I'm spending way too much freaking time on social media. So what are we doing, you guys? What are we doing? We're unfollowing. We're unfollowing, and because we care about our time, we are looking at we're looking at accounts that are valuable. You will not hurt my feelings, but I need you to answer this question for me, okay? You won't hurt my feelings. This is hypothetical. But if you looked at my Instagram account and it was like a random picture of my dog, it was me with my best friend out to dinner, it was my garden, it was a shot of my Christmas tree, it was the product that I sell, and it's just a random sampling. If you looked at that, would you say to yourself, I got to look at her account every day. This is some valuable stuff right here. Valuable or not valuable to you? Just be honest. Would that be valuable to you or not valuable? Not valuable, yeah. And the reason why we're doing that, we're trying to like show pieces of our life and have it be interesting, is because that's what worked. And that's what worked for your upline. But your upline got into this a lot longer, way before you did, and they have a lot of followers. And so people are kind of interested in every little detail. They want to know, where did she get that outfit? Where did she buy those shoes? She gardens? Like, you want to know all these things because they already have a massive ton of followers. But P.S., a lot of those followers are already distributors. So that ain't going to help your bottom line either. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many of you, wave at me if you're like, the only people I can attract are people who are already doing what I'm doing. And I love them, but I don't need them, right? Yeah. Okay, so think about this. Work with me for a second. Stop doing what we told you to do a year ago. And that might seem overwhelming at first because you're like, oh, the rules are changing again. Yeah, but this time it's going to get a lot better for you. It's going to get a lot easier. Now you don't have to be so interesting. Now what we want you to do is to create valuable content, and it doesn't always have to be yours. I'm going to show you how. But this is what's happening. This is why. The algorithm is not working against you. The algorithm just reflects what we want. And what we don't want is a bunch of, it's nice. That's great that's going on in your life right now, but I don't care. I don't care. I don't have time. I'm following 250 people. I don't care that you went out to dinner with your best friend. It's great, but it's not valuable to me. It's not interesting to me that you have a dog. Like, it's not interesting. It's not interesting unless you have a huge following and those people are already kind of obsessed with you. But if like you're just, the number one mistake I see most social media experts making is that they're telling you to do the same thing they're doing. I'm going to tell you right now, don't do what I do. You can't. You'll fail. Do what I'm going to teach you to do today if you have a small following, under 10,000 followers. Are we good? We're good? Yes. It's not you, it's me. And I'm finally realizing you're terrible for me. And by that I mean this. We're all we're like, I just need a clean house. I'm following way too many people. We're talking about politics and just I don't care. Like I gotta unfollow because I gotta get ahead. So I need to follow Instagram accounts or Facebook accounts that actually serve me, that make me better. And that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. How do you become one of those 3%, one of those small number of accounts that people look at every day? How do you do it? Well, this is what you were taught to do. You were taught to create beautifully curated, branded Instagram themes. Am I right? Wave at me if you're like, yep, that's what I thought we were supposed to be doing. Wave at me if you're like, yep, I thought I had to like pick a brand, pick a color, stick with the color, stick with the theme. Stop. It's boring. It will kill. Look, listen, I hope you're looking at your insights. I hope that you're looking at your insights on Instagram, because if you are, you know this is killing your feed. So this is an actual client of mine, and this is a P.S. This is a beautiful feed. I mean, that's pretty. Takes a lot of time, right? Takes a lot of time. But this wasn't working for her. And her numbers just kept dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. In fact, she thought she was shadow banned. I'm not sure if you've heard that term before, but a lot of people are like, is there something, is Instagram broken? How come I can't get anything? But this is boring. And I'm going to show you why. Okay? Because this, even though it looks pretty, does not stop the feed. Ashley Baldy, she says, mine is messy. Good. Messy works. I'll show you how. All right, because this is perfectly curated stuff. This is what it looks like when you scroll. Okay, maybe we can. Okay, this is what it looks like when you scroll. Watch what it looks like in the feed. Keep your eye on this.
Nothing.
Would you almost assume that you were seeing the same post? Wouldn't you assume like, oh, I already saw this? Okay, now here's what happens. Let's say I love her. I love Smile and Glimmer. I love her. She's one of my dearest friends. And I scroll past that, and it looks very much like what she posted the day before. And when we see something that we're like, oh, I already know what that is, do you take the time to go like, oh, let me read this again, and let me engage and tap, and like, no, you just scroll past, because it looks friggin' the same. It looks friggin' the same. Stop that shit. It's boring. It's not stopping the scroll, y'all. And I hope that's like a huge relief for you, because that was so much work. I did it too. I had that perfectly curated, Carol's nodding her head, yes. I had that perfectly curated Instagram feed, like where you do a little bit of pink and then I'd be like, oh, I can't post today because I don't have anything on with a little bit of pink. It was so dumb. So I couldn't be authentic, because I could only be authentic if it was on the aesthetic. The aesthetic doesn't matter. Let me show you what happened after she took the tips that I'm going to share with you today and just said, okay, I don't care if it matches my brand colors. I'm just going to dump value for the woman who I'm trying to help, who's a woman trying to get healthy and lose weight. Let me see what I can do. So this is what her people are going to find valuable. So she was like, okay, my niche, and this is something all of you, we're going to talk about this, you need to decide on your niche and be as specific as possible. She's like, my niche is somebody who's struggling right now with their body image, to lose weight, and to do this at home under excruciating conditions. And I want to provide content that when they look at it, they don't just go, oh, this is interesting. They go, this is valuable to me. And so she started looking for that content. This is what her page looks like now. Is that messier? Is it messier? It's not as pretty, but isn't it 100 times more interesting? This stuff stops the scroll. When it looks the same day after day after day, nobody engages anymore. Even the people who like you, they forget to, because they're like, oh, I didn't even know that was a different post. So look what kind of results she has now. This is after 7 days of doing this. Do I have you excited to try this? Do I have you excited to try this? Okay, yes. Thank you, Alicia. Let's see. Wave at me if you're like, all right, I'm so excited about doing this. Yes, show me, Shalene, because I want to know how. Just get to it. Show us how. Okay, beautiful. I will. First, you got to remember this. You're going to be looking for what I call featured or shareable content. All right, so what is that? Featured or shareable content is shared content. It's any popular post. It has to be a popular post. There's somebody else who has a public account posted, and you're going to repost it and give them credit. It ain't that hard. You're going to download an app, any reposting app, all right? So write that down, because that's a step that I need you to follow through and do this after we're done. You're going to download a reposting app. because this makes this like take seconds for you. And if the account that posted that popular piece of content is public, you have full rights to share it, provided you give them credit. How simple? Why wouldn't they? People are pretty excited when you share their. Wouldn't you want someone to share your content so you could reach new followers? Wouldn't you? Of course. Of course you would. That's what shareable content is. Now, what do we share? Before I show you the answers, I want to see if you already know the answers, because I bet you do. What was the last thing you took a screenshot of on Instagram or on Facebook and you're like, ooh, that was good? That's shareable content. That thing that you posted to your text messaging thread with all your girlfriends in it or all your buddies in it or the Facebook group and you're like, you guys, did you see this? And you took a screenshot of it? That's shareable content. That thing that you posted, you saw someone else post and you went, that is exactly how I feel. This just, got me right in the gut. This is exactly how I feel. You share that because it aligns with your message. It makes you look good. Shareable content is the stuff that you're taking screenshots of and sharing with your friends. Shareable content is the stuff that you already know it's what it is because you're saving it and you're DMing it to other people. You're already sharing it to your stories. You already know what shareable content is, so don't get tripped up on that. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. I'm going to help you find it. But it's got to be valuable. And by valuable, I mean it's got to be entertaining, it's got to be educational, it's got to be motivational, it's got to be humorous, or it's got to be insightful. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. If I post the fact that my latest podcast is coming out tomorrow, is that something you would share to your stories? Yes or no? I guess it depends on what the title of the podcast would be, but for most people, it's not. If I told you my company's got a sale on this, and I'm showing you the product and that it's on sale, are you sharing that to your stories? Yes or no? Nope. If I post a photo of my dog who looks adorable laying on the grass, are you sharing that? Nope. No, because we share things that make us look a certain way. It's got to say something about me. So we share things that are like, oh, that would help my followers. That looks good on me. It doesn't look good on you to share something where I'm promoting myself, right? It just doesn't. So we have to stop doing the promotion in our feed. Listen, all I'm talking to you about today is the feed, not stories. Stories is a different story. And we're going to go into that. Fraser and I, and we've got a whole team of social media experts who are going to be digging deep into this stuff to show you tactically what you do in the feed and what you do on stories. But today I just want to focus on feed, because feed is where you're going to get new followers. And if you don't get a ton of new followers, you can't get a ton of new prospects. It's a numbers game, y'all. And the more we can fill the top of that funnel with followers who are your ideal followers, and we know they're ideal because they were looking for that specific type of content, the more likely you are to get better prospects and get them faster. So I'm going to share with you how to find shareable content. All right, so number one, you have to do this. Do you know which hashtags the person who has the problem you identified, what hashtags are they using? What hashtags are they using? Right? So you tell me. I'd love to know. What if you told me in the comments that your ideal customer is struggling with energy and needs to lose weight, what hashtags is she posting on her photos? Is she posting energy? Is she posting energy, or is she posting low energy? Is she really using low energy, or is she saying something else? Do we know why she feels low energy? Is she using hashtag weight loss? Probably not. She might be using something that you're not thinking about. And the only way you're going to know is if you start looking at the hashtags that your follower uses. But let me give you one little hint. Do you know what hashtag you shouldn't be using? any hashtags related to your product. And I know that corporate's not going to want you to hear that from me, but I want you to grow. And frankly, if they were smart, they would tell you not to use those hashtags either. If I have a product, all of my distributors are excited about the new product line, and we've got a new product coming out, and it's called the Blueberry Stinger. And I use the hashtag Blueberry Stinger. Who am I going to attract? Who knows the name Blueberry Stinger? Only other distributors, yes. Only other distributors. Stop using the hashtags of your company. Nobody knows it except other distributors, and you don't need them to follow you. Yes, thank you. It makes sense. But you've got to know what hashtags your target audience is using. Then you go to the Explore page. You look at the top posts. You look at the top posts. And you pick one that matches your aesthetic, that matches what you would post to your page, because it fits. And now you're seeing an example up on the screen of what that could look like. Right? So my son Brock teaches Instagram, as does his mother. He finds a great piece of content teaching people how to research hashtags. He can share it to his account as long as you give the original poster credit. That's the key. That's it. That's what featured content is. Featured content is your dream come true because it saves you massive amount of time. He didn't have to create that. All he had to do is download an app, a reposting app. It gives you predictable success because that was already a viral post. I mean, no one expects you to be a graphic artist. No one expects you to be an incredible content creator. It's ridiculous that we put this much pressure on ourselves to do this. We're not good at it. No one's expecting you to be a supermodel. No one's expecting you to have a Pinterest-worthy home. No one's expecting you to do these things. You just want to help people. So let the people who've already created that incredible content, let's give them more props, and in the process, use it to grow your own following. This is going to blow your mind. So these are all accounts that I manage, just to give you a sense of what's going on here. Okay, so these are all accounts that I manage. Where you see green, that's all shared content. Do you see the account that has almost 500,000 followers? Let me show you which one it is right there. Home workouts for you. Over 500,000 followers. Do you see how much content I had to create for that account?
None.
Let that sink in for a second. Nothing. I created nothing for that account. What I did is I promoted other people. I promoted other people. Oh, Elisa's like, yes, yes. She's just like, I got it. Lisa, yes. Kelsey, do you get that? Do you love that? Yes. This is so much easier. You just have to, like, when you see a killer piece of content, you're like, man, I wish I could do that. If it fits for your niche, repost it. People freaking love that. Guess what else? You just gave that person the ultimate compliment. You just gave them the ultimate compliment. So what's the likelihood that they're going to be like, oh, hey, I mean, we love it when people are fans of us. Every time someone shares a piece of my content, I send them a DM and say, hey, I really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing it with your following. You're starting a dialogue by doing this. This is everything. It saves you time. You don't have to be creative. Your account's going to grow 10 times faster because that content, I don't take this personal, is way more interesting than anything you or I could create. I'm a freaking fitness professional. I've sold tens of millions of exercise DVDs. I can't grow my account that fast because one person is boring. I'm not a Jenner. You know what I'm saying? Like, one person is boring. We don't want that anymore. We want value. Like, I want an account that I want to follow this every day. I want to see that account is valuable to anyone who's trying to get in shape at home. So pick your niche. Pick your niche. Here's how you do it. You're going to take a screenshot of this, all right, guys? Because this is going to show you how to do it. And this is just a real quick recap of how you do this. You go to a hashtag that's in your niche. Look at top post, not recent. Top or recent? Top or recent? Top. Because we don't care what happened recently unless that one climbs to the top. That's right. Then you look at all of them. Go do it on your phone right now. Do it on your phone right now. And you look at all of the most of the top posts, and there's going to be like 10 that you're like, I wouldn't repost that. That's like somebody else. I wouldn't repost that. That's weird. But there's going to be one you're like, ooh, that's good. Now, 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be a quote card. Probably. Depends on what type of content you're looking for. But then once you have it, you just tap the 3 little dots in the upper corner. That copies the link to your clipboard. Then you open up your reposting app. And most reposting apps, just pick any of them. I know you guys are asking, like, which one to use. I saw the question. Use the one in your app store that has the highest rating. There's like 20 of them, and they're all great. But the second you open up the reposting app, it already will populate the post that you were just looking at on Instagram, and it will say, download caption, copy caption, download photo, videos, or whatever to your camera roll, and you just click yes. Then you just post it, but use your hashtags, okay? Now, this is the part where people really struggle, and because this is on you. So let me get real serious. You don't find a niche. You just decide on a niche. Type that out for me. What I just said. You don't find a niche. You just decide on a niche. Decide on a niche. And it doesn't matter if it's the wrong one, because it's not going on your tombstone. You can change it later. But if you don't pick one thing, if you don't become known for one thing, this doesn't work. You can't become known when you're trying to be doing all the things and have all the interests. You have to pick one thing. I grew up an entrepreneur. I started, believe it or not, selling Cutco door to door. Yep, in college, and selling cars, used cars. I had a personal training business. I was trying to get into law school. I was working as a paralegal. I was trying to sell ebooks. I was doing all the things. I was trying to host seminars in hotels. I'm 25 years old, trying to host seminars in hotels for women who want to start a business at home. I'm doing all of these things, and I'm teaching fitness classes. I'm passionate about all of them. All of these things are my niche. I love all these things. But I couldn't get anywhere. I couldn't make any headway because I wasn't known for one thing. It's called Sheehan's Wall. And you have to be known for one thing before you can begin to branch off and include some of the other things. But I'm not talking about your Instagram account. I'm not telling my friends about your Instagram account if you're talking about 10 different things. You must be known for one thing first. So I decided to exclusively focus on fitness. I put everything else aside. Didn't mean that I was done with it, but it meant it wasn't the right season. And I went 110% into fitness. I focused all my efforts into fitness. It wasn't even the thing I was the most passionate about. I just saw an opportunity. And you have an opportunity in front of you right now. I don't care if it's the thing that you're not the most passionate about. It's an opportunity that if you give it your full focus and you pick one niche and you just stick with that niche until you become known for it. Because when you're doing all the things, when you're doing 3 different things, when you confuse, you lose. Pick one thing. I picked fitness. And I stuck with it until I became known. Once I became known, then I had permission, because I had a big enough following to start talking a little bit about business and social media and personal development. And then relationships, one at a time. But your tree trunk, your root, is what you become known for. And now y'all freak out because you're like, well, I don't know what my niche is. Nobody else is going to pick that for you. Just pick it. Just freaking pick it. Stop already. Just pick something. I wasn't crazy passionate about fitness. I just picked something. Pick something and stick with it. Stop making excuses. Pick something. And if you're not sure, ask your friends. Ask the people who love you. Like, what do you love to learn from me? Quick note about hashtags. Take a screenshot of this because I got to fly through the rest of these slides for you. Post your hashtags in your comment, not your caption. 28 to 30 hashtags every single time. If you don't use all hashtags, that's like having advertising dollars for free and not spending them. Be very specific. Don't use hashtags that have nothing to do with your posts. Okay? Make sure that they're very specific to your target audience. And then take a look at those hashtags. Go look at the what people are responding to that are using that hashtag. Don't just go, weight loss. Have you looked at that hashtag weight loss? Have you looked to see what's in the top? Because if your content that you're posting wouldn't rank in the top, it's probably not, there's a million other hashtags you could use. Yes. And don't use your company's hashtags. Remember, the Instagram strategy that works for your upline, that works for someone who has over 10,000 followers is very different from the upline or from the strategy that you need to work. So now I'm going to answer that question for you. How much reposting can I do? How much should be me and how much should be other people's shared content? Wave at me if you're like, yeah, I was kind of wondering that. Like, is this all shared content now? Okay, good. All right, cool. I'm going to break this down for you. Now, listen, this is my opinion. There's always exceptions. Please know that. But if you have under 10,000 followers and you want to grow fast, my recommendation, and I've worked with tens of thousands of people to help them grow their Instagrams, this works today. And that is this. If you're trying to grow, 80% of your content right now should be themed or shareable content, not yours. But it relates to your message. Does that make sense? Nod at me. Right? Okay? And then maybe 20% is your stuff, but it still needs to be on niche. If you have over 10,000 followers, over 100,000 followers, then 80% of your content can be about you, and probably another 20% should be shareable. Now, listen, I have over 500,000 followers, and when my account is like, ugh, I'm not getting any engagement, I go straight to the shared content. It is like a shot in the arm. It works every time. Works every time. Now, this is a sliding scale. So as you start to build followers, then you can post more and more of your own stuff. And again, I'm going to say this one more time just to remind you, your stories is you. Stories is where they connect with you, the person who owns the account, the person who cares about it. That's my name, Chalene Johnson. I would love to have you guys say hello to me on Instagram. I'm really looking forward to working with many of you. Most importantly, I'm excited to see you put these strategies in place. Write this down. Here we go. Ready? Real quick recap. Ready? Pick a hashtag that's specific to your niche. Look at a top post. Select a top post that works with your message, your niche, your theme. Share it and put 28 to 30 spot-on hashtags in the first comment. And watch what happens. Look at your insights. You'll see. This has been my pleasure and my honor. Thank you to the GoPro community. Thank you to Eric. Thank you to everyone who was here and taking notes and nodding and waving. I love you guys. Mwah. Can't wait to see your response. Total success is yours. All right, hands up.